Hey, good afternoon, YouTube. How you guys doing? Today's video is very special to me. I have decided to start a new series on my channel, and it entails the subject of religious discussion and critique. Now, for those of you who are not religious and don't show no enthusiasm or interest in religion, I understand this is not your cup of tea, and you do not have to watch this video. You can just skip right through it. But today's topic is going to deal with the study of the Greek New Testament. Well, the New Testament in general. And for those of you who are interested, I encourage you to stick around because I have a very fascinating topic that I want to talk to you about today. This is something that's going to be new on my YouTube channel. I am going to donate part of my channel to a series that involves religious discussion. So let's commence on this subject and get started. The topic today is the genealogy of Jesus Christ. Is it historically reliable? There are two accounts. Matthew has an account and Luke has an account. First, I want you to get your Bible. I want you to open it up and I want you to go to Matthew chapter 2. I'm reading from the New Revised Standard Version Catholic Edition. I am a practicing Catholic and this is the one that I use. I do read other English translations, but you can read whatever English translation that you're comfortable with. Let's read a little bit of it and then we're going to discuss it. I'm not going to read the whole chapter. I'm just going to read some excerpts. So just follow me. In the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, asking, "Where is the child who was born King of the Jews? For we observed his star at its rising and have come to pay him homage." When King Herod heard this, he was frightened, and all Jerusalem with him. And calling together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. They told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, so it is written by the prophet. And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judea, and by no means least among the rulers of Judea, from you shall come a ruler who is a shepherd to my people Israel." When they heard the king, they set out, and there ahead of them went the star that they had seen at its rising until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. Chapter 11, or verse 11 is very vital here. On entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. Then opening their treasure chests, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left their own country by another road. The gospel according to Luke. According to Matthew. Let's see what Luke says now. Luke chapter 2. Same version, New Revised Standard Version, Catholic Edition. This is what I read. In those days, a decree went out from Emperor Augustus that all the world should be registered. This was the first registration and was taken with Quirinius, who was governor of Syria. All went to their own towns to be registered. Joseph also went out from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to the city of David called Bethlehem, because he was descended from the house and family of David. He went to be registered with Mary, to whom he was engaged, and who was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for her to deliver the child. And she gave birth to her firstborn son, and wrapped him in bands of cloth, and laid him in a manger, because there was no place for them in the inn. This is the account given to us by Luke. One more example, and then I'm going to get to where I feel there's a problem here. Let's go to Matthew 1. In Matthew 1, we have the whole entire genealogy of Jesus. And I'll just read the first few verses here. An account of the genealogy of Jesus, the Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Abraham was the father of Isaac, and Isaac was the father of Jacob, and Jacob the father of Judea and his brothers, and Judea the father of Perez, and Zerah by Tamar, and Perez the father of Hezron, and Hezron the father of Aram. And it goes all the way down until we get to verse 17, where it says, "So all the generations from Abraham to David are 14 generations." There are 3 sets of 14 in this that I'm not going to get into. It's not the topic of the video, but you need to pay attention to it. Maybe I'll discuss it at a later time. And from David to the deportation to Babylon, 14 generations. And from the deportation to Babylon to the Messiah, 14 generations. Go up a little bit and go to verse 16. And Jacob, the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom Jesus was born, who is called the Messiah. So this genealogy goes all the way from the son of David, or to the king of David, all the way up into Joseph and Mary. But it's called the Messiah, indicating that Jesus is divine from God. He comes from God. To me, that's what it's indicating. Let's see what Luke has to say about this. Now, what's interesting about Luke is Luke's genealogy isn't mentioned until chapter 3. Why does Matthew start off with his genealogy first, and Luke doesn't get into it until chapter 3? Luke seems to indicate or suggest to us that the birth of John the Baptist is more important than the genealogy of Jesus. Why is that? I'll let you think about that for a while while we're discussing this. So in chapter 3, if you go down a little bit here, bear with me for a moment. I'm trying to pull this up. I'm using my notebook. Jesus was about 30 years old when he began his work, and he was the son of Joseph, the son of Heli, the son of Mathat, and it goes all the way down until we get to Adam and Eve. How can a genealogy of Jesus go all the way to Adam and Eve? That's quite impressive, especially for that time period. You can't do a genealogy on that level now. How could they have done that back then? Okay, so let me make my points. The first time when we talked, we were discussing Matthew, and Matthew gives us an account of Jesus being born and visits from the wise men. The difference is, especially during the Christmas season, we always have this mangers and wise men and Mary sitting around with animals, and it's a beautiful birth, and there's bright stars in the sky. That's Luke's version. Matthew doesn't give us that version. In fact, Matthew says something entirely different here. He says, on entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother. Well, if Jesus was born in a house, he certainly wouldn't have been laid in a manger. Why would he be laid in a manger? There's no reason for him to be put in a manger if they're in a house. Luke says something entirely different. Luke says that there was an angel that visited wise men, and this will be a sign for you, as it says in Luke 2, verse 12. This will be a sign for you, and you will find the child wrapped in bands of cloth and lying in a manger. If he was lying in a manger, he wouldn't be lying in a house. That's a major discrepancy there. Who's telling who here? What's going on here? Was Jesus born in a manger? Well, actually, it's a minor one, but was he born in a manger or was he born in a house? Does it make a difference? Well, I think it does. So below this video, I've laid out a diagram where I'm going to show you the Greek words that are in use for manger and house. I'm going to show you through the study of the original languages, they're entirely different words. They mean different things. So my argument, my contention that I'm proposing is they are saying exactly what they're saying. I'm not disputing that. I'm disputing who is having a better account of what's going on here. Who has a more accurate account? Who has a more historic account? Technically, right now, I don't think as this example that I pointed out is historically reliable. If Jesus was born in Bethlehem and fled to Egypt, how could he have been growing up in Nazareth? Because in Luke's account, it says that they fled and went to Nazareth. Well, in Matthew's account, they went to Egypt. So which is it? Who is telling a lie here? Maybe it's not a lie. Maybe it's something theologically motivated. I'm not calling the authors liars. I'm not saying they're fabricating information, but I am saying that they have some kind of mystical motive going on here that I can't fully figure out. There's something amiss here. Something is not right. There's major discrepancies here. And this decree that goes out from Emperor Augustus, this is major for me. This is epic. That there was some world census that the Jews had to adhere to go all the way back to their ancestral homeland. Do you know where you come from? Would you be able to go back to an ancestral homeland 1,000 years? How would they be able to do that? Why does Luke mention this And no other writer does. John doesn't mention it in his gospel. Matthew doesn't mention it in his gospel. Luke doesn't mention it in his gospel. And Mark doesn't mention it in his gospel. What's going on here? Why does Luke say that there was this big census that everybody had to adhere to in the Roman Empire? We know a great deal about the reign of Augustus, and Augustus never mentions some kind of census the Jews were forced to abide by. It's not mentioned in any of the historical documents. Not even Josephus talks about it. Where does this idea come from, and why does Luke have it in his narrative and the rest of the gospel writers do not? That's epic for me. I can't find a single piece of Roman writing anywhere where this is mentioned, only in the Gospel of Luke. I would submit to you that when you read your Bible carefully, don't take my word for it. I just read it to you. I just proved my points, but go back to your Bible and refer to it and see what it is. If you have two Bibles at home, that's even better. Put them side by side, read Luke's account, read Matthew's account, and see how different they are. These are just two examples that I've given about the inconsistencies of the genealogy of Jesus Christ. There's a lot more. If you read them, if you keep studying this, you'll see it yourself. If you want me to make a video about it,